Scrutiny meeting on the 8th of January 2025. It's now 7 o'clock and I would like to start this meeting. I'd like to remind everybody present that this meeting is being live streamed and recorded for publication on the Council's website. Are there any apologies for absence tonight? I have Councillor Green, who is being substituted by Councillor Cliff Holloway. Are there any other? It looks like we've got a full house, which is great. Thank you, David. You haven't missed anything. Are there any items of urgent business? I have not received any matters of urgent business. No. Can I move that the minutes held on the 3rd of December 2024 as outlined in the agenda are approved and a correct record? Agreed, great. Are there any comments on the accuracy of the minutes? Brilliant. So the minutes are approved, yes. Lovely, thank you very much. Any declarations of interest? Councillor.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I'm on the Tilbury Towns Fund board, so I guess whether that's a conflict of interest or not necessarily, but I just thought I'd better mention it.
Was you on the board? You wasn't on the board before April, no, so anything on here tonight I think is pre-April anyway, so that's fine. Start on Agenda 5, which is the All Essex Joint Air Strategy Cabinet Report. You can find on pages 15 and 16. Members will note that this was presented to the Cabinet on the 11th of December 2024. We got anybody speaking on that? No? All right.
Yeah, the reason that this is on the agenda, it's really just summarising the All Essex Joint Air Quality Strategy that came to place in December and then went to Cabinet. So it's really just noting that the Cabinet had the discussions and agreed the recommendations.
Thank you, Lucy. Yes, that was the one where we was told it wasn't our dust, wasn't it? So, anyway, Councillor Lydiard.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that in Tilbury there's still quite a lot of concern about dust from the Port of Tilbury, and I think it's really important that we don't forget that there is this this feeling that they are being, sort of having all sorts of dust problems. But of course it's quite different from the air pollution. I think at some point in time I would like somebody to come to one of our forums to explain the difference and what can be done or what is being done to ensure that the fallout from the various industries in the port is being properly managed. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Is Ashley anything to say on that one? No? Okay. So well, the recommendations are out there. Note the progress in implementing the new system of governance of section. No, I'm on the wrong page, aren't I? No. Sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Ashley, you're on next. Right. Yeah, sorry, I'm with it now. Item 6. Section 106, Agreements and Financial Contributions Governance, on pages 17 to 32 of the agenda. This item was the one that was deferred from the 3rd of December 2024. Can I ask Ashley to report on this, please? Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not Ashley, but I report on it. That's okay. So, okay, it was a mistake. It's fine. You've got the report sitting in front of you for the progress that's been made. Over the last 7 months, we've met with all 13 chairs now. It took a little while to get those chairs together and have those conversations. And also, we have successfully now been able to get a date of the 21st of January where we will go in front of TAF. Unfortunately, we were missed off the agenda in November. So we weren't able to go through and do what the process will be with the TAF. So if you see in your pack, you'll see an example of what each member of the chair has had that attains to their own forum, their own ward. Some wards haven't got any Section 106 money, but we went to the chairs because the chairs are going to have the responsibility now of working alongside the council on the projects and how they will be brought forward. So one of the things we will be doing is I'm unfortunately can't make it. I've got another engagement, but Claire and Ashley will be going to the TAF meeting on the 21st of January. They will go through the process of what they expect from the chairs and our expectation, and we're expecting that the TAF forum will nominate a point of contact that we will be able to liaise with on all questions that come from the community into the council. Meanwhile, recruitment is taking place within the planning department, and one of the posts that are being highlighted in the planning department will be especially to carry out the Section 106 and to work alongside the Section 106 and to also work with the community on how they can engage more within the 106, which should go on to, the negotiations of the agreements of ones in the future. So that is presently under place. The structure chair the recruitment has fell behind slightly, but that is because of other things that have happened along the way with the process of the HR recruitment process. So if there's any questions you want to ask, please do so.
Any questions? Who's first? Councillor Harrell.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ashley, for your report. Thanks, Lee. Just the first bit, page 19, 4.12, at the bottom, the total Section 106 funds available to each ward. They're not in wards. So just use my ward, for example, Bellis. You've got South Ockenden there. Does that cover both? And can they be split into both so we know?
I think there's a merge between South Ockenden and Bellis, to be honest, between the both of them. It's the actual area itself, so they've looked at that. So that probably needs to be split out. However, I think at the time when we were doing it, only the forum came forward and that was representing all of it. Now, as far as we're concerned and what we've got information on is there is only one forum that covers both wards. If you could tell us anything different to that, then I'm quite happy to meet that chair to go forward and what's on the Bellis and we can split it open.
No, I believe you're right, only one forum, but all the others as well, they've just got one place, not split into two sort of thing, like Tilbury's only got one, but if you've done it by forum, then that's the way it's done, so thanks.
Councillor Sisterson.
Can I just ask if ward councillors will be involved in the forum discussions?
The TAF is for the chairs, and so the onus will be put onto the chairs. The other thing we want to promote the chairs to do is actually be speaking to the ward councillors. You will also be getting the documents of exactly what they will be getting as wards into the ward councillors as well. And then if you wanted to come to the meetings with the chairs, then please do so. I haven't got an issue with any of the wards coming with the chairs at all, but I will leave that down to what the chairs want to do. But what we want to do is really push this into the community so the community has a say on it, and then the chairs need to, as forums, to take some responsibility on how this is working.
Councillor Dye. Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. Yeah, get your pen going. This is going to be ongoing. I appreciate that this is an ongoing process. We know that, and it's great that we got started on this one a few months ago, and there's been probably quite a lot that's been identified that needs to be checked. One of the things I want to find out is that there was in expiry dates on some of the monies that we've got from developers. I like to think that you have taken note the most urgent ones rather than us pay them any money back. So, and the other thing is that we was going to work or try and work a system where this money can be moved around a little bit. Where are we with that one? Thank you.
Thank you. So every single agreement has gone through. I'm pushing the priorities first on the ones that are going to expire. They are currently with legal. So there is a lot of agreements that we have pushed back into legal. So legal's going to start, obviously, in a legal aspect to start looking at how we can use these agreements or how we can change the agreements or what needs to be done in order that we can keep hold of that money. So that is currently there. There is quite a few with them. We're not disputing that. But Ash and Tony is working with them constantly on to try and push that through really quickly.
Councillor Sisterson, did you want to jump in? Councillor Shinnock, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I'm a councillor over Trafford 100 and we don't have a forum. So how would that work over there?
Then we go to you and we'll expect you to go out to speak to your residents.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? For me, we started this in June and we are 7 months in, and maybe it's because we got a really good forum, but anything I've been given, I knew in 2019, I've got nothing extra. I knew where the money was, knew what we had to spend, so 7 months. If it takes 7 months to not give us any information we already know, have we got any chance of actually spending any money in this year before May? Are we actually going to get money out? And so I've still got 2 very simple questions that I haven't answered in 7 months, which I know this is about policy tonight, but it's frustrating because June I thought we're opening the magic box, we're going to have money in, and we're blaming staff shortages, but that's not really our problem, is it? So it's nothing, very little for what I've seen has happened since June, and so I've got 2019 numbers that I knew anyway.
If I can answer that, Councillor Byrne. So whilst it might not seem externally that a lot's happened, we're dealing with classing this as a legacy issue. We're talking about 10, 15 years of issues that that haven't been dealt with. So the approach we're taking is we want to get it right, not do it fast. And we have made a set of commitments and we are keeping in line with those commitments. So our commitment was to go out to each forum. So we have had some difficulty, but we didn't want to do this in a piecemeal. We've also committed to a session with all the forums coming in January at some point, which we're waiting for feedback at the minute, where we're going to look at where we have got those allocations that are ready to go. Potentially the way that we may start working now is strategically, as we're trying to work with our planning teams as well, is that rather than just looking at this is a forum, this is your allocation of money, what it might be better off looking at strategically in themes. So there might be, there's themes around health, there's themes around strategic transport, to get a bigger picture so the whole of Thurrock can benefit from this money, to ensure that we're getting a better picture and the transport allocations fit in with each other, the health fits in with the bigger picture. It may be after the session in January that we then set thematic groups up where forums can come together, share their ideas, share their experience, and look at maybe a thematic approach as opposed to looking at a ward-based approach that may hinder some progress. But we have kept to our promise. It may seem a long time, but we've got hundreds of pieces of data that we're going through. We're going back through every single 106 allocation to check for any information on interest payments. We've checked it once, and I've asked for it to be rechecked again. So we want to get this right, not do this fast at the expense of losing out on something. So we know where there are some urgent things that need to be done, but actually this has been a legacy issue we've been trying to deal with for a number of years. So we'd rather get it right and stand here, hand on heart, I know we've got it right, and be honest and straightforward with you, rather than pushing stuff forward where does it fit into the bigger, wider strategic Thurrock as we currently know it, and will we get things wrong? We don't want to, we want to learn some lessons from the past, and we want to be straight, honest and open and transparent and make sure we're doing the right thing by the residents of Thurrock. So I apologise if it seems like it's taken a long time, but I personally chair a board that meets on a fortnightly basis. We track this. We've got a number of officers in the background dealing with this, but we do need some cooperation from TAF and from the forums because we want to get this right. We want this approach to be sustainable for the long term because there will be more allocations and more funds coming in that are triggering all the time, and we want to get it right. We want to learn. We want feedback from you. We'll take the feedback on board, but it's not been an easy task. We probably underestimated what a big task it was. So we do appreciate you sort of taking the time to be on this journey with us because it is a journey. But I want to get it right. I don't want to get it wrong. So.
Thank you, Claire. Just say from our point of view, we waited 5 years for this and we got excited in June, didn't we? And then it seems to have stopped. And I don't want to get to the end of the year. I think the first thing last June we said 106, everyone 106, 106, 106, 106. I don't want to get to the end of the year and I'm going to think we've failed if we haven't delivered any money. So I want to know, be confident that we're not going to be saying come March, it's not as easy as that. We want, you can't promise us anything, but say I will feel like personally I failed on this committee if we don't deliver anything within that first
Well, we'll do
year.
our very utmost, and we do know that there is a need to spend this money. But that, for us, the key meeting now will be the meeting in January where we get the forums together and we can say, this is our transport expert. Peter's found this is what we want to do. These are the schemes that we no longer are feasible. This is what we would like to do. These are our options. This is what we think we can do legally. This is something that's still with legal, but we're nearly there, but hundreds of lines of data spanning back years. We just want to get it right for you.
Thank you. Councillor Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Claire. I suppose I've been spoilt with our forum, to be quite honest. We've got a reasonable sized forum there. We set up a subcommittee a long time ago, simply because a large amount of money was sort of put forward for 106. And some of the money was spent before anyone, blinked an eyelid. And thankfully, it was spent in the area, and what it was spent on was a good cause. So we had no worry about that whatsoever. What did annoy us is that it got spent without no consultation. So that's when we set this subcommittee up, and then thereafter we used to have regular meetings at council, and also we used to have someone come to the forum to basically enhance what's happened at the meetings, and then we kept an eye on all the data, the money and everything like that. And obviously one of the things were a certain amount of money that come from we know where, that was interest, that went in interest-bearing account. So, and as I said to you before, Claire, we've got records there where that interest was supposed to be paid into the account. And we've got it up to a date of when an officer said, actually, this is what you've got, and that's paid in there. What I found a bit should we say, when I read somewhere and they said, we didn't know, we haven't got it in other monies, put in an interest-bearing account, and we're going to see what other councils are doing for this. And I think, actually, let's just take the bull by the horns, and we put the money in an account to make money. If we've got it sitting there at the moment and we're undecided where it's going to go, let's try and make some money out of it. That's and as I said, that's what we said probably 7 years ago, that DP World money was to go, and that was all the agreement. Thank you.
Just to say, we're currently looking at those agreements. Those are ones we are reviewing initially, first and foremost, to try and find where that's been actually written down in the agreement. So we are making sure we get that information, we can find that information. At the minute we can't. So that's why I've asked them, that's why myself and Ashley have commissioned the team to go back through these agreements. When we've spoken about look what other organisations do, we've got to look at we want to look at best practice. We haven't got an interest policy for 106 monies. So what we want to do is look at the best practice across the country on 106 and take that on board. And if we do need a policy, we probably do need a policy, then we need to adopt one. But we want to make sure that it works for the borough. But at the minute, we are looking through each and every single one of these 106 allocations, and currently we have not found any reference to interest-bearing accounts. That's why I've asked the team to relook and go back again. So to make sure there's been no confusion, the DP World ones, we will be dealing with DP World with them as well. So we just need to make sure and clarify that we're looking at the right thing, there's been the right understanding, there's been no misunderstandings. If there ever, we'll come back to you and we'll be open and transparent. If needs be, as Chair, you can sit with officers and go through. The offer is for you to go through the individual 106 agreements. So if we come back to you and say we cannot find any reference to any interest-bearing accounts whatsoever, we will make that open and transparent and allow you to come in and review them. We're not saying that is the case, but at the minute we haven't found anything. That's why we're doing another review again to make sure we've not missed anything. So we want to get this right. But if we come back and it's not the answer you're expecting, we will make documents available for you to come in and view the documents where you think there may be a mistake or an error. That's all we can commit to at the minute.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Claire. As I say, I can only support what I said. That was the belief, that was the agreement that we had on that monies, and then thereafter we had monies paid in there that was interest and like that. And then, as I said, the last agreement that came through was from officer. We've got the email. I forwarded the email to you to say how much monies were there that was due interest to go in that account. I'm only saying what's been down on paper. It's as simple as that. So, you know, I'm going to say this. There's going to be a lot of people very disappointed if you come back X amount of times and say, actually, that's not in an interest-bearing account. So, you know, after all these years, it'd be very disappointing. That's all. Thank you.
Just to clarify, we just need to make sure that it's actually in the original agreement and there wasn't any misunderstanding about it being in the agreement, because we can't actually locate it at the minute, but we are going through the agreements again. So once we've done that second tranche, we will come back to you and speak to you about that.
I understand it's difficult for you all come into a pile of what you don't really want. We're in it, but all the agreements we've got are signed by people that really didn't care and just would sign anything and do anything. So we're actually, I feel for you, because you're just clearing up a lot of people's mess that we believed in things that were done, but they wasn't actually done. Now you're actually coming and finding the truth, which is great. Great for all of us, great for Thurrock. Councillor Watson.
Thank you. I think, to be honest with you, we've opened up Pandora's box that hasn't been open for God knows how many years, and it's full of like worms in there that we're sorting out. There's issues, obviously, with down in Stamford, but there's also issues that we're really working through as well with East Tilbury, and they've got a lot of issues going there where they've been promised things, and they have got evidence to say they have done that. So even all of theirs, we are still going through, because I've had it guaranteed that we are going through to help and support them as well. What all this process did actually flag to me is you had some really strong forums that knew to the penny what their Section 106 is, and there's others that was completely shocked. You know, that was really surprised they even got anything. They didn't really get that part of it. So I'm hoping that 21st of January, the process is laid out really clear to the chairs to go back to your forums, and then to pull together that meeting with the forums, all of the forums, to come together and see the officers and start working through and talking about how it works. And instead of going, oh, there's the wards and there's this, we know what's in the wards, but it's about under the themes of those Section 106s they want to talk to you about, not just about line by line, because you already know that. Yeah, and to try and get some sort of governance around and structure around this. And for me, we need to start delivering really quickly. And I want to see that delivering really quickly.
Can I just add something in as well? And we think possibly there may be some suggestions when we talk about governance around sort of the process you have in place for your forum, having a separate 106 arm of the forum. That seems to be working really, really well. So it may be something that we take and suggest so we can that gets replicated around the borough. But we just need to look at ways and work together at ways that's going to make it work in the future, sustainable. But again, apologies, but it's taken us a while to get here because of the intricacies and the promises that have been made. So we're taking at face value, and we were listening to what you said, but we've got to try and match it now with the evidence. And the legal documents are the evidence and are what we can only really go by. So we're nearly there, but just ask to bear with us again. But we are working in the background. There's an awful lot of resource being put into this and people being pulled off their regular jobs to assist with this and deal with this, to try and, we would like nothing better than see all this money spent and see some of these schemes go up and see some real, I'd like nothing better to see that, I promise you.
Yeah, thanks, Claire. So we just want to give Thurrock happy news, because we haven't been able to do that for 5 years, have we? Councillor Day.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Councillor Watson, can I get an update on if there is any outstanding 106 monies for my residents in Orsett? Would I get that from you?
Oh, yeah, we've gone through the whole process. So in Orsett it's 97,000. We've already spoken to them. We've had them in. They came together, West Horndon and Orsett and Bolton came in together, the three of them. So we've actually had that conversation, gone through with them. And then we're going, because Kim also chairs the TAF.
Yes.
He's the chair of the TAF. So that's who we're going to go and see on the 21st of January to go through what the process is and how it works from there.
Thank you. I was just checking.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Councillor Day, you've got £98,000 to spend-ish. Yes, Councillor Sisters, not for you to spend, but Councillor Shinnock.
I'm a little bit concerned, to be honest. I haven't got a forum, and until I come here tonight, this is the first thing I've known about all this, you know. So can you say to me that you can inform me more and other councillors what's going on regarding this? Because, you know, I don't know how I'm going to get out to the general public and say about the £37,000 I've got for Trafford 100, how I distribute that and so forth.
We'll set a web page up with the reports on. We'll set the web page up for the reports for you. The thing is, I haven't got a problem, and I've said this over and again, that any councillor can come to whatever meeting there is. So we've got, as I said, you are the place ONS. I've already gave the invitation out. When the forums are meeting with the officers, I said to the chair can come, yous can come. I've got no issues at all about that, and I do understand your predicament, Councillor Shinnock, because you haven't got a forum. I get that. But I think the rest of you have. So if that's the case, you know, and you do talk to your chairs regularly, and you go to your forums regularly, then you can have this conversation with your chairs. If your chairs want you to, that's what I just said, Councillor Shinnock, not you, though. But if your chairs want you to come along or whatever, I'm happy for that as well. But with the section 106 in Chafford, then you, Councillor Hartstein, Councillor like Watson, the other one, and Linda should come. We'll get a meeting with just you to go through your section 106. We'll go through your section 106 with you, useful.
What we
I
can
look forward to that with bated breath.
What we can commit to is set up an individual web page that puts all the quarterly reports. So each quarter we're producing a 106 report for each individual forum area where the allocations are. We can commit to make that accessible to all members. So we'll set up a separate web page. We'll have that done before the next ONS committee, so you'll be able to access that.
I'll be happy to join any meeting if there's a little offshoot of this where people need to know, because I didn't know people didn't have forums, but so I'll be happy to have a side meet, if you like, or a side whatever. So.
Okay, sorry. Councillor Shinnock, We'll produce a report for you, and then we'll update you, and then, you know, so you can tell the other ward members. Would that be sufficient? Every time we send one out to the chairs, we will send one out to you. Because the chairs ones, we've already said that we will send to the ward councillors as well.
Yeah, I get that. I just felt it would have been nice if I'd been informed beforehand. You know, it's just amazing. You try and keep on saying you're being open and transparent, and it don't work for me. So
Fair point. Taken. And I'll invite you
perhaps
to
you
the
can
meeting.
learn from that.
Anybody else with questions?
Is only brief. I welcome the fact you're looking at themes across wards, because certain things, obviously, if in Averley, there's transport, and one of the main things we'll be looking at is possibility of bus route, and that will obviously cross wards. So I think that's very helpful. So that's all I'd like to say. And also, actually, one thing, the graphs on this report in black and white, they just don't make any sense at all, because they're black and white, and they just you can't make head or tail of them. So that's just a little note, really. Thank you.
Have been produced in colour, but they've been obviously copied in black and white. But when we email them out, they are in colour.
Okay. Councillor Harrell.
Thank you, Chair. Can you clarify? Can you clarify? When will you be meeting the TAF?
So TAF will be meeting on the 21st of January, and that's all the chairs of the forums go to, and that will be Claire and Ashley going to the TAF meeting, and they're going to explain the expectation they want from TAF and how they would work to get the process that will be in place between TAF and the council. And then at the end of January, we want to invite all of the forums, not just the TAF, but all forum members, and also, if you wish to come as well, to start talking about the actual allocations and the projects and what's prioritised.
Thank you. Let's clear that up. I wanted to know. Thank you.
Councillor Chinook, did you want to go? No? No. All right. Will it, Councillor Watson, will it make any benefit if I go to TAF meeting? Will it be of any benefit if I go to the TAF meeting and tell everybody that to believe what the officers actually say? All right. Okay. Thank you. Recommendations on the 106, what we've just talked about. We note that the progress made in implementing the new system of governance of Section 106 funds, and note the progress implementing the new system of governance of Section 106 funds. That was 2.1. 2.2. Note the proposed next steps in the improvement of governance of Section 106 funds. Are we all happy with that? Thank you very much. Right, I think this one's going to be a bit... item 7, update on the Grays and Tilbury Towns Board. This can be found on pages 33 to 78 of the agenda. This item was deferred from the 3rd of December's 24 meetings. Members have been informed that item 10 of the report has been amended since its publication. Members were emailed a copy of this, and a copy is also tabled this evening. Can I ask Gloria to present the report, please?
Thank you. Thanks, Chair. It's Councillor Watson.
It's Councillor Watson's again, apologies.
I could stay at home.
Gloria, will you carry on?
Thank you. This is a report on the Grays and Tilbury Towns Fund. As you know, the department at the time, the Department for Levelling Up and Housing and Communities, announced a £3.6 billion Towns Fund programme, we went ahead and we were successful in acquiring 19.9 million for Grace and 22.8 million for Tilbury. Both boards were set up. They are being led and chaired by companies. They're not to be chaired by councils. And so far they're in planning stage. Some of them have gone to planning already, and they're ready for delivery in Tilbury, and they're in finished consultation on the Riverside in Grays, and now looking at consultation on the building in Grays. Open to questions.
Any questions on this? No? No. Steve? Councillor Lydiard.
Just a couple of comments, if I may. I was there this morning in Tilbury, and there were 53 cars parked around the Civic Square, and I know there's an awful lot of works going on. I just want to let you know that if they don't arrange some temporary car parking, there's going to be chaos in the town centre, Civic Square in Tilbury, but I think they've pretty much got that underway. And secondly, I mean, I do welcome the 22 million being spent in Tilbury. I think it's brilliant. But probably the most disgusting sight of all is, as you know, I've mentioned it before, is the Calcutta Club, which is just a pile of rotting mess, and it has another 150 bags of Christmas rubbish being dumped on top of it with rats and God knows what else. It is like a knife in my back every time I go past there, and it is probably the most important thing that needs putting right, or at least put some hoarding up so that people can't see it. So I would welcome your comments on that. Thank you.
Chair? Okay. Thank you, Councillor Lydiard.
Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Councillor Lydiard. In terms of the town square, the car parking, the businesses have been informed on what the arrangements are going to be and how it's going to be phased, and there's been provisional parking put in other areas for them to be able to park. Calcutta, actually, developers coming in to see me next Tuesday. So I'll be having conversations with them about that site, because it has been an eyesore for quite a long time now, and something that needs to be done. But there has also been issues on that site. So the developer will be coming in next Tuesday, and I can give you an update afterwards.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Councillor Holloway.
Which one is it? Thank you, Chair. You'll have to excuse me if you think I'm jumping the gun on this report at the moment. I'm just being shoehorned in, so to speak. Referring on page 40 to paragraphs 452 and 453, the proposals for the development of the connectivity of the Riverside Station and the Tilbury Pontoon Dock. I welcome that. Obviously, it's been a real... for being personally connected with that part of the world, to see it deteriorate over the past 30 years and being given a new lifeline is something I personally welcome, and all power to their elbow that this is carried through. What I would like to say is, carrying on from Councillor Jones's motion a couple of full council meetings ago, and which is now a resolution concerning the Tilbury Ferry, which could be utilised for using this. And what I'm looking for is that the connectivity between the ferry of here and Gravesend is still on the back burner, and a conversation perhaps with our partners who are perhaps setting up the shuttle to use the dock for commuting purposes, including Gravesend, should be something that should be given considered to when we get into talks about that. But that's about it as far as I'm concerned with the report, and I've got no further comments on this one, Chair.
Councillor Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I've noticed that in both the Tilbury Town boards and also the Grays one, change of chair. Have we got new chairs in now? And what was the reasons why we had change of chairs?
Just to advise that the previous chair has retired, so there will be a vote for the new chair at the board this week. Yeah, there has been one submission, so there will be a vote this week.
Councillor Arnold.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's just been raised about the down the Tilbury riverfront, really, and it really, again, it was just sort of comments. Yeah, really pleased to see that there might actually be something happening down there. I went on a visit down there 3-4 years ago, and it was talked, you know, within our group at that time. It was talked about, you know, with the exciting new plans for the new cafe, etc., etc. We were looking around, you know, at wonderment, thinking how great this must be. But it does kind of concern me that obviously there are several issues in discussions and underway, not least the ferry connection, which is absolutely vital, isn't it? So I don't know if there is any kind of update you could give us on that. And really, it is the connectivity is the major issue, I think, isn't it? Because it's the geography of the area obviously makes it difficult for people to access that particular part of the world unless they're in a vehicle. So I was interested to see what other further discussions there are actually to get the people, the residents or whatever, out of Tilbury down there to explore this wondrous new facility, which, if it isn't fully utilised, with maybe additional businesses, retail outlets or whatever there could be around there to actually make the thing viable in the first place. So I'm kind of really more excited and interested to hear what the bigger plan is for that area down there, because it really urgently needs it. I used to be a regular visitor on the ferry to Gravesend, and as soon as you get over that side of the water, there's untold things to do. I know it's a different kind of riverfront, I know, but Tilbury needs much more down there to make that a more vibrant, small area for people to visit. So I don't know what is actually going on.
Am I okay to answer that, Chair?
Okay.
Yeah, so there is ongoing work going. We are meeting with partners around the Tilbury to Gravesend Ferry and looking to get that put back on again. So the outcome of the transport surveys, Thames Estuary Growth Board are leading on that now. So we are working with partners across in the private and public sector with that piece of work. So we're due to receive the outcomes of the travel surveys, and we're looking to sort of put together a package whereby to make it, obviously it needs to be something that's commercially viable. So we're hoping to get some of those proposals on the table by the end of the financial year. But work has been ongoing in the background. But again, it's something that we need to make sure it's right and it's sustainable for the future, not just for a year. Because what we can't afford to happen is what's happened previously. So this needs to be a sustainable offer that continues and keeps this ongoing for the foreseeable future. But we are going to need a commercial operator to run the ferry, but it needs to take into account all of the needs of both sides of the river. But equally, the commercial partners are working with us on this as well as our key stakeholders.
Okay, thank you. It'd be great to see and hear what's coming along in the future. Just one other little point as well. I did pick up recently, it's a change of subject down by Grays Beach. Is there an application coming on for a waste recycling centre or something on the tip of the docks, the dockland alongside Grays Beach? Is that something that is coming forward, or am I completely misinformed on that one? And he's gone, isn't he?
We can get back to you, Councillor, on that
if you
one.
Could, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that one. I think there
major
possibly may be,
there,
but I don't know the details, but we'll get back to you on that one.
Thank you.
Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Chair. Claire, it's good to hear that obviously it's ongoing with the ferry, and it's good points that have been raised tonight. Has a fund's been found for certain, should we say, enterprises in these? Is there no such funds that can be found for the ferry at all as a transport infrastructure thing? I know you've probably delved into it, but I'm thinking if there's money there for these items, then maybe there might be one for our ferry.
I've made my best attempts to try and see if we can reallocate our or utilise some of our BSIP funding and ask for the ferry to be an extension of our bus infrastructure network. But unfortunately, the wheels on the bus don't count. So that the ferry can't be included as part of that extension of our transport infrastructure, hence why we're working with our key strategic partners. It has to be a commercial. So we have tried, we've been to the Department of Transport, but it's been no, it won't be considered as a part of our transport infrastructure, even if we do put some wheels on the ferry, I'm afraid.
So all this work's ongoing, and then like that's still not a major part of their, structure. It's crazy, isn't it? Realistically, it's good to hear that money's going to, and a little bit of love's going to be put in Tilbury, but we need more, and we need a bit of guarantee what's going to be down there. And someone's up there. Can
I just say something as well? What we're looking to do as well, especially in our department, and I think we've spoken to members of the planning committee, what we haven't got really at the minute is an overview, almost like a master plan, mini master plan of areas of the borough. So we're looking at Tilbury as a trial, and we're just looking to see whether we can map out actually where there are planning applications that haven't started, where there are applications that we need to see progress, but also where there are sites like the Calcutta Club calling in developers and calling in owners of land and say, look, what's happening here? We need to know what's happening. What are your plans? What's the process? So we are trying and looking at those sort of different elements. And we know Tilbury is in really great need of that attention. So we're piloting and looking at that in Tilbury. We're not saying we're building a master plan at the minute, but we want to be to understand the bigger picture and the potential of what is. Because we know across the country there are lots of planning applications that have been approved that actually haven't started, work hasn't started. And we want to understand from developers or owners of land why it hasn't started, and if there is help and assistance we can get from the government from kick-starting some of these schemes. I think in Tilbury is one of those areas, the failed IMC, all these other issues. So we're working with partners in health, we're looking at landowners, we're looking at sort of what we can do with the towns funds and trying to pull all that together and dealing with all these, and they are legacy issues, but we're looking to do it in a real cohesive way, so we can really have some sort of understanding of what the potential is, because there is a lot of potential there, but it seems like there's lots of ideas, lots of promises, lots of failed promises, but also lots of money coming in to see actually what Tilbury can be for the residents of Tilbury. So we are trying to overlay and overlap some of that information that we've got, but it's in different pockets, in different avenues across the council, and we're trying in the Place Directorate to pull all that together so we have a better understanding, and so ward members and officers and members of committees have a better understanding if this is the potential for this part of the borough. So we're trying our best, but again, with everything, it's taking time because we want to do it right. So I don't want to sound like a broken record, but there is lots and lots of work in the background going on, I can assure you.
Yeah, thank you. So in addition to what Claire's outlined, which is absolutely right, we're also, just noting the fact that this is government money that we've got, and if we, delivering and having that track record of delivery will actually attract more investment from government. So I think we really do need to deliver and have a track record for delivery, and then all these other asks that we're talking about now, government will be willing to fund more, look at us and give us more money on all these other projects. So it's just something to bear in mind as well. So we really want to make sure we deliver on this.
Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Chair. The youth zone, I must admit I've been to see the one at Dagenham. I paid a visit up there, and it's a fantastic place, it really was. And for kids, well, you couldn't better it, you really couldn't. I really enjoyed myself that day, I must admit. But I was a bit concerned because obviously where it's designed to go in Tilbury, there was concerns whether or not it'd be accepted down there. And at one time, probably Councillor Lydiard's got more idea than me, it was said that it wasn't wanted, Steve, wasn't it? So, where are we with that one? And also, I think there was concern with parking, and that was going to be the central point, should we say, for Thurrock, because other children were going to be allowed to come to visit the place. And then, obviously, that means buses and things like that travelling all over the show. So, have we thought about that one, and is it all up and going and okay?
Should I do it? So the youth zone was agreed at planning and is now in delivery stage, and it's going to happen. One of the things that happened in Tilbury is there was a disjoint between the community and the board. That is came a long way now. There's been a change of membership on the board. The chair of the Tilbury Forum actually sits as a member of the board now, and he's very vocal going back within Tilbury and telling everybody what's going on, which has been great for us. And also the ward councillors are now sitting on the board, so there is a little bit of more synergy in communications that's gone on. And so, but the youth zone was passed. It was already shovels in the ground, and it is continuing.
Sorry, can I just jump in on that? The youth zone, have we not been told that in year 2 it can't fund itself and we'll have to fund it, and we're putting money into a project that's going to certainly lose money? And we've been on, we've all said, other parties said they don't want to fund things like the theatre, so why are we going to spend 20 million on a project that's guaranteed to lose money and cost us money? That's the numbers I've been given, and we had figures from Councillor Coxhill which don't tally. So are we going to invest in a project that's going to lose money, or is it going to hold its own?
So one of the issues with the board, with the whole funding mechanism in both areas is this: we have until 2026 to commit the money. So it has to be something has to be happening. Delivery has to happen in 2026, by 2026. That's contracts have to be awarded, and it has to be spades in the ground to happen. If not, MHCLG has got every right to come back and say, we're taking all of the funding, not just the 19, but the whole entire lot. And so it's gone to the point that on these projects, we've been told there's there's no return on them, that they've been committed, they've gone to planning, they've happened. The terms of the money in 3 years' time will hopefully, yes, and hopefully the Freeport will also help out some of that, because DP World sits there and they've already said they would help out on some of that sort of stuff in terms of Freeport. And also at the same time, OnSide is also committed to do stuff, and we will continue to monitor them as well. But what I don't want to happen in Tilbury is a youth zone, which is, you're completely right, Councillor Jones. If nobody's been to a youth zone and you want to go to Dagenham one, it's phenomenal. And the work they do with the children there is absolutely phenomenal. And they keep off the streets and all of those things you want to do. And the thing is with the youth zone, it's not that the residents said, I don't want to get rid of it. It's nobody consulted with them. Nobody gave them the option of where they want it to go, or even listened to there could have been a better place somewhere else. And that was one of the issues with it. But what we've tried to do is, because the youth zone is going to take out something like the play area, now as part of the board, we're saying to the community now, what do you want? Where do you want that play area to go? So we're trying to get them more involved, and through the chair, he is instigating that as well. He's been like a lifeline on that. So we are unfortunately where we are, but hopefully we can pull this round and we can deliver it, and it will be a good thing for Tilbury. Because to be fair, Tilbury should be dripping in gold at this money. But let's just do, and let's just deliver and get this through, because it will be a better place with it.
Oh, I'm all for that, and maybe we should even put money into that as a loss. But at the moment, it is a loss-leading project, so we haven't got the money, the funds there, and we're just hoping that we get the money. So we're investing in a project that is going to lose money, yeah? That's the question I asked, and well, yes or no, really. Okay, yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah, we do appreciate that there is, business case that this needs to meet. Obviously, the Towns Fund is a capital programme, so going back to the ferry, it's very much capital orientated. As you say, we have a business case for the first couple of years. We're working very, very closely with OnSide in regards to a lot of the fundraising that they're doing. We're also conscious that building is going to be empty during the day, so we're working with our education colleagues as well to see how we can maximise that facility. So it's very much an ongoing project at the moment, but we're working very, very closely with Onside.
Thank you. Councillor Shinnock.
Yeah, I've just got to say, I've been a councillor for many years, and all the time I've been a councillor, there's been money awarded to Tilbury to improve it. And to be honest, I go down there and I never see any improvements. And we had the fire station got knocked down for a medical centre, money ran out, we didn't get that. What is going to happen to the fire station now? Is that being sold off, the area there? Because it's just boarded up and nothing's there now. And, you know, Tilbury gets all these promises, but nothing has ever been delivered, as far as I'm concerned. And I do walk around there quite a bit. So, you know, we need to get things done. I think people of Tilbury deserve it, because they're paying their council tax like everybody else, you know. And you've got to start delivering this stuff. You all keep saying X, Y, Z, but nothing ever happens.
Councillor Watson.
So, Councillor Shinnock, you're completely right. Tilbury deserves this. The residents deserve this. So, in terms of that area, there is money that was sitting in the funds for the community. It is now down to the community and the councillors to come up with projects for that money. And one of the things they're looking at is the old fire station. And one of the great ideas that they've been having is we'll take the hoardings down, why can't we tarmac it? Then we can run a little market on it, and then during the week it'd be car parking. These are the things that they're actually coming to the table with, and these are the things we're actually looking at. The community has got a say in the projects. When we've been able to get and work out the piece of money that are there, the ward councillors and the community through the chair are coming up with great projects.
I look forward to that, but I doubt if I see it in my lifetime.
Well, let's hope they do, Councillor Shinnock, because it's got to be done by 2026.
I believe that when I see it.
Councillor Arnold.
Thank you, Chair. Really, it's just coming back on Councillor Shinnock there. I mean, I tend to be more of a glass half full person, but I do really agree with you. I mean, Tilbury is in dire need of this kind of investment. But just going back to the youth zone, I mean, at that time when it went through planning, I kind of received multiple first-hand reports of the facility in Croydon, I think it was, and the people that went on the visit were completely enthused and absolutely, like, so in admiration, actually, what was going on down there. And I believe if it does, and it hopefully will happen in Tilbury, I can only, and I stand by what I said then, I can only really see that as being a major success for Tilbury. I know at the location, you know, different councils have different viewpoints on that, but if the thing gets up and running and it's working, I think it will be a major asset for Tilbury, and I'm really still all for it.
Councillor Harrell.
Yeah, thanks. I'd just like to go back to what Councillor Lydiard said, a century ago, about the hoarding at Calcutta Club. He's been asking this for months. The place meetings probably since they started, since this year started. So hopefully that will happen. On a general theme, I know this is about Tilbury and Grays, but on a general theme, in Ockendon we've got an old public house, a pub that's been burnt down and that. And could we have hoarding put up in these places? Because in the long run, you're probably going to save money, because fly tipping that Councillor Lydiard said about. But also, there's kids playing over there as well, and obviously children are the most important thing in our life, should be. So hoarding doesn't cost a lot of money. So surely we can add this in these places that are really run down.
Councillor Watson.
Are you talking about the Jack? Okay, so that is, so we can talk to the owner of that, because that's privately owned anyway, and see if they could do anything about that. But there is a plan on that anyway. So I'll catch up with you after.
Yeah, thanks. But it's not just the Jack o' Lantern. It's everywhere. Everywhere there's an issue with a place that's just wrong. It looks bad. holding doesn't cost a lot of money to put up. I know we're skint as a council, but it would just look so much better with just a nice bit of holding up, painted light green or something, just so it blends in. It's just something we could do that wouldn't cost a lot of money.
So you're completely right, Councillor Howell, but the thing is, if it's on private land, we can only contact and speak to them because they're the ones who's going to have to be responsible putting that up and maintaining that. So if it's on our land, absolutely. You know, that we can have that. We can say, George can put some up tomorrow, but we have to go and approach them to ask the owners or the developers, whoever it is, to please go ahead and do it.
If they say no, do we have any power at all that we could do something with, or is it just no?
We could ask our environmental enforcement officers to contact them, but it really depends on the eyesore and sort of if there are any overspilling issues. You can see the issues we've experienced with the Calcutta site. So we could get our environment enforcement team to try and deal with it, but it just depends on a case-by-case basis.
Councillor Arnold.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, open door there, sorry. Just regarding the jack-o'-lantern, obviously I've received plenty of casework about that over the years. It's been going on way too long. I do understand the whole picture. But at some point during that time, it was explained to me by officers that actually there is a two-sided thing here. Hoardings are put up, they can be perfectly secure, but then vandals come along, they will gain entry, they will tear it down. It's not actually a council problem. I know it's the mess that it leaves is, but it's actually something that's created by individuals that have no place entering the property, and they really certainly have no place to actually gain entry by destroying the hoarding in the first place. So there are two sides to this story.
Right. Me. You may get I suppose I may get a no comment on this one, but there's a lot of controversy about Tilbury pre-May, isn't there? We've had board members quit, there's questions raised about personal interest. We've got the pontoon, the £5 million pontoon, what benefit is that to the residents of Tilbury? We've got board members that were offered discount property who have now turned it away and quit. We've got like the youth project that's going to guarantee to lose money. Are we confident that pre-May everything was above board, and are we looking at it? Is there any form of investigation, or we're just going to say forget it because it's the past? Because there is a lot of anger, a lot of controversy over that, and it is for me it needs looking at, because pre-May there's a lot of controversy.
There's been no formal allegations made, no formal investigation that's taking place at the moment with regards to anything that you've just mentioned, Councillor Byrne. So, no, we won't. There's no formal allegations been made. There are no formal allegations that have come to the council with regards to anything to do with the Tilbury Farm, as far as we're aware, I'm aware of. And there's no current investigation.
Right, nothing to do with that at all. This is about Grays and Tilbury. Tilbury obviously needs lots of love, let's put it that way. And as councillors have said, they don't feel like it's getting much, or it hasn't got much in the past. But can I ask why it was Tilbury and Grays that was chosen? Because lots of residents around the borough just see Grays seems to always get the pick. Is there a reason for that, or just always Grays?
Yes, well, every time I've raised that, I've always been told that Grays is the administration capital of Thurrock, and they get. How do you think we feel? The other side of 128 in Stamford-le-Hope, nobody's been abused more than us. So it is Grays, 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 and we all know that, and we know everybody else in the population. That's my opinion anyway, because we see it. I've seen it for 6 years, 10 years, and you've all seen it. So Grays is the capital, and it's like London, they get the money, I think. I don't know, because we are all overlooked. As Councillor Shinnock has said, we've all said. So anyway, sorry.
Can I just say first, I was born and bred in Grays. So I've got nothing against Grays, but it's always Grays.
Have an answer on that?
Yeah, I think in terms of, I wasn't here when the bids were put in, but when you bid for government money, you need to get a narrative, and a lot of that's about the connection to the riverside in both Grays and Tilbury. It's also, you look at the sort of wider development opportunities, and you can grab a lot of the development we're doing in Grays here to really help your business plan. So probably just second guessing why Grays and Tilbury were selected.
Yeah, I think like East Thurrock is bigger than Grays, so I forget it is, but I agree with everyone, it's Grays, and we've seen that tonight, and I think with different ward councils see it the same way. Any more questions? I think we've exhausted that one. And the recommendation is this: to note the 8 updates on the programme and the progress on delivering Grays Town Deal, Riverside and Tilbury Town Deal programmes. Are we all okay with that? Thank you very much. Item 8, the Q2 forecast revenue and capital outturn report that can be found on pages 79 to 126 of the agenda. Can I ask Dawn to present the report, please, unless it's Councillor Watson again, who is Dawn?
No, I'm here, but it's Seema who's going to present this one.
Oh. Thank you.
What you've got in the pack is the full Q2 report that went to Cabinet. But for Place Directorate, the net forecast position for Place is 1.9 million overspend at Q2 against a budget of 42.938 million. And that is a nil movement from the Q1 position that was reported. The 1.919 million will also be offset by contained outbreak management funding, which was held in reserves from COVID. And we're going to use that to fund the overspend in homelessness. And that amount is 965k, and that's being shown in the report. So overall, the pressure is 954k. There is work ongoing with the services and to reduce that overspend position for the financial year end, and even period 7 we've seen a reduction, and you will see further reductions being reported as work continues towards the Q3 position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from members on this? Councillor Lydiard.
Thanks, Chair. I mean, a lot of this is a matter of fact, isn't it? So we know there's some overspends on several of the budget areas, and you know, what can you say? Basically, we'll have to make it up in the rest of the year, or use reserves, which is not a great way of going forward, but it is what it is, and we have to live with it, really. Thanks, Chair.
Councillor Jones.
Yeah, thank you. Do you think sometimes we might be putting too much pressure on ourselves when we're setting these budgets? We know we've got to cut down and things like that, and there's all you keep hearing is that there's going to be an overspend on that quarter, this quarter, on that department, this department. I mean, reading figures and things like that is a minefield, isn't it? To understand that, you've got to be an accountant, let's be honest, let's be fair now. And so all we're seeing and taking back is that that's an overspend, this is an overspend. So are we putting too much pressure on ourselves to come to this, to make it all look good for them, whoever? I don't know. Thank you.
So we have tried to be really transparent in the quarterly reports and shown everything, and that was my main aim when I started here. So it is a very transparent report. Obviously, the main pressure in Thurrock is the temporary accommodation, as it is with most local authorities. And we are seeing that upward pressure in temporary accommodation, nightly accommodation placements. What we have done for the budget setting for 25-26 is build that in, and you will see that in the budget setting, the final cabinet report that you will see. We have built in a growth proposal in the final report for that to allow for that temporary accommodation increase. So we set the budget for next financial year at the beginning point of the financial year to alleviate some of that pressure that we're facing in temporary accommodation. But obviously we will always have pressures, and temporary accommodation is one of those demand-led services where councils face a lot of pressure. It is a lot of detail, and I will, for the next quarter, try and produce a summary for overview and scrutiny instead, just to give you that highlight for place.
So we get support from government, but do they ever, should we say, increase it when they see we've got pressures on council? You know, that council might have more pressure than another council. So do they, you know, change their upkeep towards us?
So, yeah, so we've just had our allocation for next year, so there has been an increase in support from the government for homelessness. But just to say, so this is the first year that we've had a place. Bear in mind, place was newly created in April, so there was inheritance of previous budgets, and homelessness and housing come over and merged into the place budget. So the homelessness budget, we admittedly wasn't set at the right rate. So we've addressed that this coming year with an increase in aid and assistance from the government, but also we're looking to see what we can do more ourselves. How are we going to reduce down our demand? It's reducing down the cost, reducing down demand, and looking at all those issues. So we're working with our peers in Redbridge to look at, they've done some fantastic work around how they've managed to reduce demand. But we're also looking at what we can do now we're trying to triangulate and not just look at our asset disposal programme, our regen programme. We're now looking at our homelessness need and our housing need in with that as well. So we're not just looking at these things in isolation. So we're making sure that where we are looking to dispose of assets of land and dispose of that, actually we're looking at now and saying, right, could we now put, for example, modular housing? Modular housing isn't everyone's first option, but it is modular housing something that we can look at and invest in. They're quick, they're easy units, so we're working with some developers on that, looking to get some programmes up that will be coming through to Cabinet as part of our external stakeholder engagement that Councillor Watson leads. So we are now starting to, we've got a bit of space and time now to start looking at our regen, but in a very different way that addresses our housing need and not just look at big developers building houses where we've got a small percentage of affordable homes, but looking at actually our homelessness need, and can we address that through looking at modular, through looking at different options that we've got. So we're trying to triangulate it now in a better way, so that movement into place for homelessness and housing is helping us, but we're getting to grips in it this year, and this will be the year where we'll see a bit of a difference and hopefully see some movement on that.
Thank you, Claire. Councillor Sisterton.
Thank you. Where you've said that's come from reserves from the Containment Outbreak Management Fund, are we sure that that's not going to be called on to be paid back? So that's absolutely clear to use.
Yeah, that is definitely available to use, and we'll use it for the homelessness pressure. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions? I guess Councillor Lydiard summed it up. It is what it is, isn't it? And the recommendations, you want me to read the 6 recommendations, or do you want the committee to accept the recommendations? Read them? Oh, agreed, yeah? Oh, good. Thank God for that. Item 8, we're now on the work programme. The work programme is on pages 127 to 130 of the agenda. Lucy, can you take us through the work programme, please?
Thanks, Chair. I won't go through the work programme in detail because it's included in the agenda. There's only 2 meetings left of this municipal year, on the 19th of February, 19th of March. Any members got anything to add or any comments or anything, then I'm happy to take that away.
Just the two items that slipped, we got them in and we're confident we're going to have the presentations on them in the right time. Yep, good. From last month, we slipped two items slipped down to move, didn't they? So, okay, yeah, fine, yeah, we're happy with that. I keep moaning that they're not on, and then it's me that messes it up, isn't it? Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight. That concludes the business of the meeting this evening. I now declare the meeting closed at 8:15. Thank you very much, everybody. See you next month.